Hello, hello, what's up? It's February 27th,
Hey.
Tuesday. It's IG LiveStream time here at ThinApp headquarters in Streeterville. We just want to say what's up, and we're back. We're a little bit late, 15 minutes late or so, 20 minutes late, but it's cool. You know, we're going to make sure that these live stream sessions are short and concise. That way, we're not just wasting a lot of time. You know, we just want to make sure we get the information out there, discuss it, see what you guys think, get the feedback, and then we'll kind of go from there. But again, keep checking our Instagram profile. Anybody from Meetup, welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you coming and checking this stuff out. Today we're talking about functional app design, and it seems pretty straightforward. It is, but it is something that I think is kind of a new field, even though we've been using apps for a while. What we have to go by when we look at app design are basically the apps that we use: Facebook, Instagram, Starbucks, I guess you can say like a Dunkin' Donuts app, some apps that we use all the time, social media apps, a Bank of America app, a Chase app. So when you look at this functional app design, there's restrictions, there's limitations, there's things you do have to think about. The most popular phones, obviously, is going to be iPhone, and then you're going to have the Samsung phones. These smartphones are going to be what people primarily use these apps on. Obviously, you have tablets, you have website design, but sticking with functional app design, with a phone, you're either right-handed or left-handed. Your thumb is going to be in a certain place. Your fingers are going to be in a certain place. You're going to be looking like buttons are going to be in a certain place. There are some restrictions to it, so you can't go really too crazy with it. And that's why we don't want to talk about just overall app design, because really you could do whatever you want. But being functional is probably the most important part to your app design. So I actually can't speak a lot on this. I'm a novice when it comes to this, and I'm playing around with just design stuff in general. When it comes to flyers, advertisement, marketing material, or even like some website design concepts. But founder Ken Davis, really has nailed this down to a science. And not only can he template match, but he can go off and create something on the fly, do really good critiques of other designs that he even gets. So he's probably going to be better to speak about this. But I guess the first question I would ask him, for me being a novice, is what's kind of the fundamentals of app design? Because like I said, your hand is going to be in a certain place. The phone is designed for you to hold it. So there are some restrictions.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things you can do, and I like to remind people of this a lot, so that people don't always feel like information is coming from us flowing down to them, like, who are these guys?
Right.
We focus on what the famous companies do.
Right.
We look at all the billion-dollar companies, and we watch them. So a lot of the stuff that we're going to tell you is stuff that you can see for yourself, or you can learn for yourself by just simply looking at what the famous companies do.
Right, the proof is in the pudding.
So, think about some of the famous apps. A lot of the things that they do that are industry standards that we learn and we implement, we learn them and we implement them because they come from, things like seminars with the famous team of, some of these, big billion-dollar companies. So you kind of have to, think about it. Yeah, if you're a payments app for like Starbucks, where do you want the pay button? Typically if people are holding the phone, 70% of people are right-handed. You want the button at the bottom. So if you're holding it in a certain way, you can tap pay with your thumb.
Right.
So what's really funny is in one of Starbucks' most recent iterations of their app versions, they actually added this little green pay button at the bottom right corner of the app. And like you see it there? It's at the bottom right corner,
The
right
little
there.
green button right
It's
there.
a little green button, and if you tap it, it blacks out the screen and it shows an order and a reload.
So it gives like a 90% or opposite opacity to the screen.
Yeah. I mean, that was a very recent change that they rolled out. I mean, why do you think they did that? You know, I mean, isn't it obvious? They black out the screen. You know, you tap it, they show you order and reload. You know, I mean, it's insane. These billion-dollar companies, they're billion-dollar companies because they're figuring out how to get people to spend money.
Right.
So with that being said, one of the ways we have learned from these companies and implemented these practices ourselves is a very provable, measurable way. It's advertising. It's really plain and simple.
Okay.
If you look at the results from advertising, a lot of people call that ROI, return on investment.
Right.
A lot of people call that conversion analysis. How many sales you got for a campaign? How many sales you got per dollar?
Right.
How much
Per
did
dollar
it
spent,
cost to get a sale? The conversion, cost per conversion. When you do advertising, campaigns to generate sales or what we call actions, you can literally measure, hey, did I spend $1,000? Did I get 5 sales?
Right.
We do this for a variety of clients as well as a variety of in-house projects, and we routinely are way above the median average. Like, we're in the top, maybe 10 percentiles of the people that do it. I think one of the reasons why is, we all started off broke. We had to use our own budgets and our own money, work day jobs, and use our own money for advertising, for our own projects. And,
Right.
when you're using your own money, you don't have a lot of, you don't have a lot of money to waste.
Yeah.
You can't just be,
You
putting
need
money.
to track it. And
Put money into
analyze it.
advertising. I don't care what the advertising is. Google AdWords, it doesn't matter. You don't have a lot of time and ego to waste money.
Right.
So you figure it out fast, and you will either be good at it, which means you can continue doing it, or you will be bad at it, which means you blow through all your money and you probably don't have any more money to do it. So our ROI and conversion rates are routinely in the top 10 percentile of the best in the industry. So that's one way we know that we convert well. Now, going into what does convert, you have to examine a lot of factors. People in our industry examine the color of certain buttons.
Right.
What colors trigger what emotions in people. You got to know that. You got to know the standards. When you're talking about this goes for websites, mobile sites, and apps. The interesting thing about apps is Apple has a whole guideline set of rules that they've already figured out are successful.
Right.
So your stuff that goes into an app has to adhere to certain guidelines and rules, or they will reject your app.
So that adds to the restrictions.
They want font sizes to be a certain size, minimum. They want button sizes to be a certain minimum height. Like, they have it down to a science. So a lot of these things, it doesn't just matter because we say it matters or some billion-dollar company is doing it. Apple's got a whole, big Bible of guidelines.
Well, it's got to be functional.
Yeah.
It can't just be.
They won't let you make a mistake. They won't let it,
Right.
They won't, a lot of clients, it might be up for debate with the client. Oh, I don't believe it. Okay, you don't believe it? See if you get an app in the App Store.
Well, so that's kind of why we are talking about this, because we've had situations where you've talked to clients and they want something and you're like, there's no way. I understand your vision is one thing. That may work on a website or on a magazine page. But for an app,
right,
you have to adhere to certain
restrictions and guidelines. So
restrictions and guidelines.
Here's another interesting thing about apps. Apps are commonly known to be minimalistic, yet really convenient and intuitive. I think all of those things are ironic byproducts, or phenomena, if you will, of one simple fact. And the one simple fact is apps are super hard to make. Because they're super hard to make, it's not like you're going to program as much stuff into a page on an app as you would on a website.
Right.
And it's only getting harder because, let me tell you, to make a page on an app, you not only have functionality, but you have all these crazy things called relative constraints, which allow every element that's on the page to be relative to another element to the top and bottom and left and right of the page. You can't. It's not like HTML and CSS.
So
and
everything kind of moves together versus just.
It's crazy. It's crazy, and it's. I mean, just that part alone is difficult. So because apps are so difficult in nature, you can't really do that much on a page without getting yourself into a whole lot of problems. What most people do is they add one thing on a page, button in the middle, go this way or go that way, do this or do that.
Yep.
And it lays out a very dumbed down flow for people that is easy to follow.
Right.
And I don't know that they're like that by design, but they're like that by necessity.
Yeah.
Because again, it's so expensive and hard to code a page. Now, a second thing about that and the flow and the minimalism is companies and teams do sit around and try to figure out how do we get people to do what we need them to do. They will watch people, they will ask people, they will videotape people. And what you learn is that sometimes you just have to give people a yes or no option or a this or that option.
Yep.
You can't give them too many options.
Yep.
Do this or do that.
To get them to the next step.
Yep, and really what you're doing is you're pushing them forward.
Right.
The second option usually is cancel or go back. You really don't want people to do the second option. So really, the two options are really about always moving forward. So, people, the good people and the big companies have figured out that the best way of moving people forward is to dumb the app down, simplify it, make it so minimalistic that they can see easily what to do. Now, here is something we learned. So many people are doing so many things when they're looking at your website, your mobile site, or your app. They're on the phone, they're texting, somebody's walking into the room, their dog is licking them, their cat is scratching, somebody, there are a million things going on in everybody's world all the time, day and night.
You're usually multitasking, yeah.
So whenever somebody's in or on your website or mobile site or app, you have to assume you do not have their undivided attention. Right. So what you make has to be so clear, so bold, so good, so important for that user that they can do it with random moderate distractions going on. And what we like to imagine is somebody can control and do one of our apps with one hand while holding another hand on the phone or doing something with another hand while holding a conversation or reading a magazine or watching TV.
Right.
They need to be able to know what to do with a fraction of their attention and just one hand and one thumb. And if you make something that's that easy for somebody to get through, then chances are you're going to have a more functional app than other people. And it's going to reflect in your sales, in your signups, in your members,
in the overall success of the app,
in the overall success of the app, whatever that may be.